Howdy partners! Today we're going to learn how to set up our audio and our video settings for OBS Studio. This video is not sponsored by Bud Light, but if you are from Anheuser-Busch, well, hit me up. Hey, so welcome back to Stream University once again, everybody. I am your host, Luxury Sedan, and I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about becoming a Twitch streamer, and there's nothing more basic than how to set up your OBS Studio video and audio settings. I'm also going to show you all the secret things that you're going to find in about 15 other different videos on YouTube. It's all right here. So make sure you like and comment, tell me what you learned, tell me what you still need to know, and we'll hit it next time. I just wanted to remind everybody I do stream 3 days a week on Twitch. My link is going to be right here. I stream on Sunday, Thursday, Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Come hang out in the chat. We'll talk. We'll talk about the videos. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Come see me. Hey, you know me by now. We don't mess around. We're jumping in. It's time to learn. All right, so here we are. We've loaded up into OBS Studio. I've hit Settings, and this is the first screen I come to. Go to Output. If you guys just want to copy my settings, if you're a copy paster out there, no shame, bro. No shame. Here it is, streaming. Pause the video right here. This is the recording tab. If you want to copy it, do it right now. Amazing. Good job. I'm proud of you. If you want to copy my audio, check this out, bro. You seen this? Okay. All right. All you copy pasters, thanks for stopping by. If you want to learn why I've set things up like this, stick around. So in the streaming tab, let's go through everything and why I have it set the way I set it. Please note that since I am recording this in OBS Studio, some things are grayed out that will normally be not grayed out. We'll still talk about them, but I just wanted to make that known. So streaming tab, first thing. If you have a 10 series GPU, like a NVIDIA 1080, if you've got a 20 series GPU, NVIDIA 2080, if you've got a 3000 series GPU, those are coming out in the future. If you got that, you want to use NVENC New. Maybe it just says NVENC, but NVENC New, it all changed about a year ago or a year and a half ago in 2019. This is definitely what you want to use because it rivals your CPU doing all the encoding. The 10 series GPUs, the 20 series GPUs, they have built-in encoders. They do nothing else, but they encode your stream because they built those cards with streamers in mind. So it's not utilizing extra resources on your computer. It's literally dedicated solely to that on the graphics card. So that's why you want to use NVENC New instead of, I think it's X264 that puts all your encoding on the CPU. No bueno, don't do that. Do not check Enforce Streaming Service encoder settings. We don't want to be at Twitch's, beck and call here. We want to do our own thing. Do not rescale in this tab. If you want to rescale, you're going to do that outside this tab. So right here's the real meat and potatoes. Rate control. You've got a couple different settings. You want to choose CBR. That stands for constant bit rate. It's way better than VBR, which is variable bit rate. We won't get into CQP right now, but constant bit rate is what Twitch has said they want to use. What I'm also going to put in the link description below, what I'm going to put in the description below is a link to the Twitch broadcast settings that they recommend. They're going to have all these different resolutions and frame rates, and they're going to tell you what you should set your OBS Studio up as. It's a lot of the things you're going to see in this menu. The only thing is there's a few things that they don't mention that I'm going to tell you about. So the first thing that they note is CBR. They want a constant bit rate to their platform. So let's accommodate them as such. Bit rate, this may be something you have to play with. It's going to depend, number one, on your internet speed. So if you have garbage internet from garbage.com, streaming may not be for you. If you have, a couple megs, if you've got up to 10 megs, that's going to eat a lot of your bit rate. Twitch has a maximum bit rate that they allow of 6,000. Why do I have it set on 6,300? Well, let me tell you. As you're streaming, it kind of fluctuates. I want to always hit that 6,000. So I've recently bumped this up to 6,300, and so I can maintain a constant 6,000 to the platform. Just be aware that if people are watching you and they can't download your video at 6,000 kilobytes, which is 6 megabytes per second, they could have some trouble with your stream buffering or things like that. You know, I'm a big fan of quality. So if your internet can't see it, I want to help you with that, but I also want to have a good quality stream. So if you're only streaming for a couple people, maybe you play with that and keep it lower for people so they can always view you. But I want the best quality stream I can get. Okay, enough about that. That's probably one of the most important things on this page. Keyframe interval 2. So Twitch has said, hey, we want your keyframe interval to be 2. It may default to 0, which kind of automatically sets it. Just put it at 2. That's what Twitch wants. Preset, max quality. That's what I use. Once again, I want max quality. And for most of the games you're playing, more than likely, or with the card you have, I think max quality could probably handle it. Definitely if you're in the 20 series GPUs, let's go with max quality. I have a 1080, not a 1080 Ti, but I have just a straight up 1080, and I've been able to hold it on max quality for, I don't know, 6 months. It's never failed me. Once I picked it up to max quality, never failed. Been great. But if you're running on like a 1070, 1060, your mileage may vary. Just back it down to quality. No big deal. I don't think it's going to change that much, but you know, if it squeaks me up that little bit, I want it. So we're going to go down to profile now. There's 3 different options: high, main, and baseline. For the purposes of viewing video on mobile and viewing it in web browsers and things like that, I believe that I've read that high is the best thing to go with. I've used it for a long time now in here. I know high is very good for mobile viewing. It has something to do with basically the device you're viewing the stream on. So I do all my encoding with the high profile. Look ahead and psycho-visual tuning, you notice that they both have this question mark here. If you put your mouse over it and hover, it'll actually bring up a tip on what it is. So for look ahead, here's what it reads. This enables dynamic B frames. If disabled, the encoder will always use the number of B frames specified in the max B frame settings, which is, it's down there a little bit. We're going to get to it in a minute. Come back. My cursor is literally twitching. What? If enabled, it will increase visual quality by only using however many B frames are necessary, up to the maximum at the cost of increased GPU utilization. So I have this checked because it's going to make a decision which it says ultimately leads to better quality for my stream. If you notice, my max B frames is set at 2. The more B frames you have, up to a certain point, it can increase the visual quality of your stream. But we're going to let OBS dynamically select that and roll with that. I think if you ever change this max B frames beyond 2, I've used 4 in the past, but I wouldn't put it any higher than 4. I would recommend 2 because that's what Twitch recommends is 2. Psycho-visual tuning, let's see what that says. Enables encoder settings that optimize the use of bitrate for increased perceived visual quality, especially in situations with high motion, at the cost of increased GPU utilization. So if you're worried about, if you're barely trying to squeak by and stream and game on a single PC setup, this may not be the best setting for you to use, because it says it's gonna get better quality at the cost of increased GPU utilization. But if you've got plenty of headroom on your CPU or on your GPU, I would check that. GPU, you can dial this up. If you're running more than one GPU, you can put a specific one that you want to use. I don't know why you'd be using that. Please don't. Please don't. So if you only have one graphics card, like 99% of people out there, you're just going to leave that at 0. It defaults to your only graphics card. But yeah, that's the streaming tab. You made it through. You listened to all the crap I had to say. Thanks. So now we're going to go to recording. And you might say, well, why would I record any different? I'm sorry that's how you talk. It's okay, though. It gets better. But you want to record your own clips to use on other platforms in higher quality. Like I said, Twitch can only accept up to 6,000 kilobits per second. Why would I limit myself to that? So, in here, the first thing to look at is recording format, MP4. The reason I choose MP4 is because it works with all the different things like Sony Vegas, Adobe Premiere, After Effects. I can take that into any editing program and it's good to go. If you choose one of the others, there's a chance you may have to convert it. And it's just another step. I don't care. Like, my power's not going to go out when I'm in the middle of recording a clip. Watch, the power's probably going to go out as I record this really long video. Unless you're worried about the power going out, you're safe to use MP4. What I always do is I run a 30-second replay buffer. That's this tab up here where you tell OBS how many seconds to be recording at any given time during your stream. And then I have a button. I hit the button and it records the last 30 seconds of my stream. So, once I hit that button, it's already encoded in, like a second, and it's no big deal. Unless I lose power right in the middle of me hitting that button, there's no reason to not use MP4, in my opinion. Encoder, I'm still going to choose Invent New because I want it to stream and record and encode all on my GPU. Rescale output, once again, you're not going to do that here. It's checked for me, but it's just got my default resolution, so it actually isn't doing anything. Don't check that. Custom muxer settings. This, don't worry about this. This is for advanced users only. I'm not covering that in this video. This is just the quick and dirty with some explanations. We're not going to use that. Most people don't. Rate control. So you could use constant bitrate here if you want. If you're going to use constant bitrate in this section, much like we did in the streaming section, I would recommend 16,000 kilobits per second if you're streaming at 1080p, 60 frames a second. If you're going to, there's no reason to stream in 4K because Twitch can't do that. I don't know of any streaming platform that can do that. Maybe I'm missing one, but you're not on it, so it doesn't matter. If you want to go, if you're streaming in 720p, you don't have to do 16,000 kilobytes per second, but you could still do it. That way you make sure you have the best quality for that stream. You could probably back it down to 12 or 10 or something like that. But the reason I use rate control is because it's going to yield a better result. So rate control CQP, CQ level, the lower this number is, the more towards lossless you get. So I'm at 14 now. It goes down to 0. I think it maxes out at 60. So I'm really close to the max quality side of things. So the lower you take that, the better it's going to look. But after you get past 14, it's kind of diminishing returns. So just choose what you want to do there. But do remember, the lower that number is, the bigger your file size is going to be. If I'm just recording uncompressed video, God help me, don't do that. You can take some compression because there's going to be losses when you output it from Adobe Premiere. There's going to be losses when you put it on YouTube. So I've got it set at 14. Works great for me. I recommend it. I keep my keyframe interval at 2. Oh, let me back up just 1 second. If you want to back off the file size a little bit, maybe you put CQ level at 18 or 20. Still going to yield some great results. Keyframe interval, keep it at 2. It was at 2 before, keep it at 2. We've already talked about preset and profile. Once again, you're going to do max quality or quality, depending on your graphics card situation. Profile, keep it at high. That's where we want it. Keep look ahead, psychovisual tuning, keep those both on. GPU 0. Max B frames 2. Same thing as we had before. All right, this next section, very quick. We're in the audio tab. First, let me show you my audio situation. I've got desktop audio on channel 1, nothing on channel 2, and I've got my mic on channel 3. So the reason that's important is because in the audio tab, track 1, audio bitrate 160. Once again, this will not be grayed out if you're editing this, or if you're messing with this while you're not recording like I am. Audio bitrate 160. You want all these to be 160, except here's your first secret. Put your microphone on 320. If you're using a Go XLR, it's all routed through 1. Maybe you throw it on 320, but if you've got your mic separated out from your rig, I would put it on 320. It's going to give you that, ooh, very nice sound to it. So yeah, that's what I do. Hey, so I'm jumping in here, recording this after the fact. Sample rate at the top, we want to set that to 48 kilohertz because it's going to help keep your audio sync drift at bay. So don't worry with 44.1. Let's set that at 48 kilohertz. The rest of the video, you're going to see that that's been set at 44.1. Disregard that. I jumped back down in preparation for this video, but I've changed my mind on it. I'm going to keep it at 48, and I've had it at 48. Also, my system settings are at 48. So if I was to go to open sound settings, device properties for my default player, additional device properties, thank you, Windows 10, supported formats, 48 kilohertz. Advanced, 2 channels, 16-bit, 48,000 hertz, which is 48 kilohertz. So with all that being said, that is why I'm using 48 kilohertz, and that's also why you're going to see 44.1 in the earlier part of the video. Hopping back over into the audio tab and your channels on stereo. This goes into like 5.1, 7-point run. You don't need to fool with all that. Twitch does support multi-channel audio, I think, but I don't know that the audience is there for that kind of thing, you know? You go down to the video menu. You can see that my base canvas is 1920 by 1080. If you did want to scale it down to 720, you could do that here. Your base canvas should be basically the resolution of your monitor, where things are going to look kind of wonky on your canvas when you're editing in OBS. And rescale is what you actually want it to be when it goes out to Twitch or when it's recorded for use on your computer. Downscale filter, Lanczos, 36 samples. That's going to give you your Christmas image. Christmas image. If you want a Christmas image, you're going to choose that. So if you want it to look good, choose this one, is what I'm getting to. And then common FPS values, I put mine on 59.94. You could do 60, you could do 30. I've got it on that. You know, this is really up to you and your internet settings, what best fits you. But I always prefer to go higher on FPS if you can. If you can get out of streaming 30 FPS, it's a much more enjoyable experience for me as a viewer to watch something higher than 30 FPS. It all comes back to your content, but if you're trying to attract viewers as a new Twitch streamer, you're trying to improve the quality of your stream, first thing I'm changing is the either the resolution, or the second thing I'm changing is the FPS. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to go to the advanced tab where we're really going to get into the secrets. All right, process priority. If you want to make sure that OBS doesn't drop frames, throw this sucker on high, or at least above normal. You want OBS to be the top level thing that your computer's doing. Okay, I'm playing a game. Okay, I'm running OBS Studio. Okay, I've got my stupid mouse software that has all my macros. Okay, I'm running BitTorrent or whatever. That's really dumb to do while you're streaming. But if you got all these things running, you tell it to run OBS in high settings, or, you know, process priority is high. It's going to make that the most important thing that your rig is doing. And if you want to not drop frames, I think it's absolutely critical that you throw that up there. Unless you've just got a beast of a system, which you might, and it may not really make much of a difference. But when it comes to doing A or B, you got to choose one. Make sure OBS is set to priority A. Okay. Coming down here to video, renderer, Direct 3D 11, that's what you want. Color format. If you're streaming on Twitch, you want your color format to be NV12. That's bottom line. That's got to happen. Color space 709. That there's another one. It's like 601. You don't want to choose that because that's an older color space. Color space 709 is for high definition. So if for some reason your OBS is loaded up to 709, or you've played or loaded up to 601, or you've played around with it and it's not on 709, do change that now, because that's very important. I'm assuming you're streaming in high definition. It's 2020. If you're not, just go. Just get out of here. But color space 709, that's what you want. And then finally, color range partial. This is this is for people who like to tweak stuff, and maybe you don't read up properly before you do it. Us as males, we don't read the instruction manual. We just start putting the stuff together. Let me tell you, when you have a kid, you're going to start reading the daggum instruction manuals. But anyway, color range, you want that to be partial because of reasons. Basically, this limits your color range. Yes, you're going from 16, like on a scale of 0 to 255, you're going from 16 to 235. You're cutting out some whites, you're cutting out some blacks. It's literally not that big of a deal, but just with Twitch, with YouTube, all these different sites, they prefer to have the partial color range. So that's very important. Please make sure you do that. Couple more things I want to show you. A couple more of those secrets are going to make their way into some of the other things we're doing. So I'm going to drag this over. Hey, look at him. Make sure that on your capture card or your webcam, right click on it, go to properties. You want to make sure that you're also using the color space 709 there as well. Color range partial as well, because you don't want to mix and match stuff. You want to make sure you're consistent everywhere you go. And then I have a countdown video I play, and then I have a bumper video I play. I've got a really interesting stream intro. It's very elaborate, but I've got a video that plays. It's just a local video file on my computer. I want to make sure I right click properties and set my color range to partial. Once again, I think it comes in as auto. I don't want to leave it to chance. I don't care what OBS thinks it wants to do. I want to make sure I keep that on partial. Hey, if this video has helped you, please like and subscribe. I talked about that earlier, but it just helps me out a ton, especially right now as we're trying to get this channel off the ground. So until next time, thank you for coming to Stream University. Get schooled. Oh my God! Ah!